Town, Petco Park, a new beginning, let's go. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Baby said she wanna go to the game. Taught her how to say Padres gang. Started back rocking the brown. Ever since we've been knocking them down. Mitchell and Ness with the old school name. All of the homies holler Padre gang. Yeah, that.
And good day, everybody. It's the Talking Friars pregame show. Padres and the Reds today had the off day yesterday. Got schedule going back. Regular season games are back today. Ben Fadden, I am your host here for this pregame show. Padres and the Reds, the series opener today. It's April 26th, 2022. Padres enter today at 10-6. The Reds are 3-13. They're not very good. That is obvious. The Padres swept them the last time that they played, and I'd frankly probably be disappointed if they don't do that again this time around. I hope everyone's doing well. Got a couple in the comments here. Tupac13, what's up? John Hub, what's up? He says, if Machado doesn't go yard in the first inning, then what are we even doing here? Yeah, the Reds aren't good. Hopefully that happens. They're playing in Great American Small Park today. It's on Bally Sports San Diego, just like always. 97.3 The Fan on the radio. 3:40 p.m. Pacific time, first pitch. I'm in New York right now, but the game's in Cincinnati, but I'm in New York, so I'm on Eastern time, so it's 3:30 right now and 12:30 back home in San Diego. So everyone in San Diego is going to be able to go to sleep early today, hopefully, if the Padre game doesn't go 22 innings, you'll get to go to bed at a nice early time today. Me, I'll probably be going to bed after 10. But that's better than 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning like I usually am when games are starting at, 9:40 p.m. my time. But I'll be in San Diego in May, so I won't have to deal with that. What's up, Gil? How's it going? Alex says, hopefully we get a couple of home runs from guys and they get going playing at Great American Small Park. Yeah, I just said Great American Small Park. Yeah, and then there's going to be no fans there. The weather might not help, or maybe it will help, because I know we had Yu Darvish obviously against the Giants a couple weeks ago, and he gave up, 6 runs in that first inning or something crazy. And that was when it was really cold and really windy. So maybe that doesn't happen, or maybe that does happen tonight. I look at the weather earlier this morning, what it's supposed to be in Cincinnati, and it's in the 50s, might even get down into the 40s. So maybe we'll see that tonight. Maybe that'll be to the Padres' advantage tonight to get those bats going. Obviously, they got blown out against the Dodgers on Sunday. I put together a little clip about the Padres' offense not being anywhere near the Dodgers, a clip from my last episode that gave my reaction to the Dodgers series and all that. They were outscored 18-6. The Dodgers had 18 runs. The Padres had 6 runs in that weekend series. The Padres had 1 home run, and that was by Jake Cronenworth. The Dodgers hit 6 of them. Now, I guess the good news is that the Dodgers are not playing the Padres this series, obviously. The Reds are not the Dodgers offensively, pitching-wise, anything. It's not like the Reds can go out there and throw Hunter Green 5 every day, 5 days, every day, every 5th day. It's every 5th day for Green. It's not every day for him. So that's the good news. Today, the Padres are facing Raver San Martin. They scored 5 runs off of him in San Martin's last start. They have Vladimir Gutierrez, who they faced last week as well. They're pitching him tomorrow. Tyler Mahle, however you pronounce it, pitching in the series finale, which is going to be a 12:30 start Eastern time in Cincinnati. So it'll be 9:30 a.m. in San Diego. So some morning Padres baseball on Thursday before the Padres head to, I believe, Cleveland either Cleveland or Pittsburgh. Those are the two teams that they play in this road trip. But like I mentioned, the Padres are lucky to not have to face Hunter Green this series because he throws absolute gas. Gil says, looking forward to have Campy DHing. Yeah, that'll be one of my what to watch for today is Campy at DH. Obviously, he replaced Luke Voit on the roster because Luke Voit has the bicep soreness, so he's not on the roster. He's not obviously available. So Luis Campusano called up, and I feel like this is the big chance for Campusano. While Voigt's on the IL, make an impression, and maybe if you hit, you'll be able to stay. Or they're going to be more confident, or they'll be more willing to have Voit have a couple more days on the IL if things aren't going great. They're not trying to rush him back. And I think it's good that you don't have to also worry about that pitcher rule. And what I mean by that is if what they have been doing sometimes that they've had Nola catching and Alfaro DHing, and if Nola gets hurt, Alfaro's the catcher, and now you have a pitcher hitting the rest of the game. We saw that with Cincinnati when Tyler Stevenson got hurt on that Luke Voit slide. And the backup Reds catcher had to come in and replace Stevenson, and the Reds had to use a pinch hitter the rest of the game or use a pitcher the rest of the game. So at least the Padres with three catchers, they're not going to run into that situation because more than likely every game, they're going to have Campusano DHing or a catcher DHing. Maybe it's Nola to give him a day off or Alfaro to give him a day off, but with three catchers, your day off is just going to be sitting on the bench because I think right now with Campusano, who would you rather this is a question for the chat here, I guess. Who would you rather have DHing? Would you rather have Luis Campusano DHing and see him actually get some at-bats and get some actual playing time? Or would you rather see Jory Alfaro DHing and he's the actual better defensive catcher, so you could have him on the bench? He's the better defensive catcher, and is he really a better hitter right now than Campusano is? I mean, maybe because he's been in the majors, but I know he had a great spring, but that hasn't totally transferred over to the regular season, right? So those are viable questions. Alex says if Campy does good while Voit is out and hits bombs, it either raises his trade value or it shows that he's going to be their future DH. I think it can be both at the same time. I don't know. I think Campusano, to me, I don't think that he's someone that you just trade and he's the main piece being traded. I think he's being attached to an Eric Hosmer contract or a Will Myers contract or something like that to entice the other team to want to agree to that deal, and the Padres in turn can get back power outfield hitter or whatever they feel like is best for them. I think that's the most likely scenario. So if Campusano does hit well like Alex hopes and like I hope and like Padre fans hope, if he hits well, then I think you could see him continue to be the DH and Luke Voit maybe have more of an extended IL stint and just make sure he's healthy, or in the background, and I hope this happens, I don't think it will, maybe they can work on his approach and maybe doing a toe tap with two strikes. Anyone that listens to the show, the episode, the podcast, the YouTube show after series, and any episode usually, I mean, ever since Luke Voit has struggled this season, I've recommended him to do that toe tap like Bryce Harper does and do that toe tap with two strikes. You can still have a violent swing, but at least you're not having so much movement with your head. Your head's not going up and down with the ball, loading and then lunging forward, with a violent swing. And you have movement from the pitcher that you have to take into account. That's not really happening if you have the toe tap. So maybe if Campusano's hitting well, they spend some more time with Voit to get him healthy, make sure he's really healthy, and maybe refine some things so you're not throwing him right out there with it, Maybe that's a scenario. Did I finish the pitching matchup? I don't think I did. For Musgrove tonight, Joe Musgrove, the starter for the Padres, Reaver San Martin for the Reds. Musgrove went 6 1/3 his last time out against the Reds, 2 earned runs. Just don't give up a home run to Tommy Pham this time, and I think you'll be good, right? Tommy Pham is hitting third. and he is the left fielder for the Reds. Jonathan India is back in there leading off for the Reds, playing second base. You got Votto in there, Senzel, Colin Moran, Aramis Garcia, because Stevenson, I believe, is still on the concussion list or whatever they want to call it, on the IL with the concussion protocol. So I think you have to wait like 7 days to come off of it. But that's the matchup. Musgrove, San Martin. Don't give up a home run to Tommy Pham. And I think you're good for Musgrove because this Reds lineup is not great. They finally got a win against the Cardinals over the weekend? Not over the weekend. It must have been. It might have been because the Cardinals were the last team that the Reds played. I'm thinking about the Cardinals playing the Mets last night. By the way, did you see that Nolan Arenado throw? Whoa, my goodness. 9-time Gold Glove winner? Not really. I mean, the throw wasn't great. I guess it's the glove is what they care about, but he fielded it and took like 4 steps and then airmailed the throw. That helped the Mets come back, score 5 in the 9th, and beat the Cardinals last night. But getting back to the Reds, so after getting swept by the Padres earlier last week, they hosted the Cardinals. They lost 4-2 on Friday, 5-0 on Saturday, and then they got a win on Sunday. So they're coming off a series sweep. They're getting swept by the Dodgers in 4 games, the Padres in 3 games, and losing 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals over the weekend. So not looking great for them. I don't believe I told you their record, 3-13 right now. They are last place in the National League Central. We're not even at the end of April, and again, this season started late on April 7th. We're not even at the end of April, and they're already 6.5 games back in the National League Central. So, Red fans, that really sucks to be a Reds fan right now. It sucks because what the owner, the president has said, the team trading away all their big pieces, You see the Cardinals at 9-6, like that's not even like, it's not like they're the Mets right now who are 13-5, right? That's a doable thing to be in striking distance if they didn't trade away Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker, Amir Garrett, Sonny Gray. They didn't trade away all those big name guys. Maybe they'd, be where the Pirates are at 8-8, something like that, instead of 3-13. But I'm not a Reds fan, so I'm a Padres fan, and it's good to be able to play them, This 8-game road trip, the Padres that they're starting today, you got the Reds, obviously, for those 3 games, and then you got 2 other winnable series. You got Cleveland and then Pittsburgh. You got the Pirates over the weekend, leading into May, an off day on Monday, and then 2 with the Guardians. And then when you come back home, you're playing two teams that aren't even playoff teams. You got the Miami Marlins, and then for 4, by the way, so that's an extra game there. And then you got the Cubs for 3 before another off day, before it gets tough. And you have to go to Atlanta, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Milwaukee. So that'll be a tough stretch. So they have the easier stretch now with the tough stretch coming in the middle of May. So now's the time to make some hay, as some would say, and get some wins. Moving to the bullpen situation right now, again, as I always do at the end of these pregame shows, I will get to all your questions and stuff that you have for me at the end here. Getting through this bullpen here. So obviously a day off yesterday, April 25th. Today's April 26th. So Taylor Rogers, 2 days off. Garcia, 2 days off. Wilson, Suarez, 2 days off. Lamet, a day off. Pedro Avila is not going to pitch today, I wouldn't think. Ray Kerr, a day off. So everyone except Avila is probably available. And so that's pretty much what the bullpen situation looks like. Don't see any additional bullpen moves or roster moves, so we're good on that front. Usually when I'm recording or when I'm going live for this pregame show, there's a move that was made. Like last week, Pierce Johnson went on the IL, and I didn't know till like the end because I didn't check my tablet. So I was like, oh, what the heck? So I had to react to that live, change the bullpen usage chart, and update that, post that. But yeah, so everyone's Chris Matt 3 days off. Hopefully you don't see him pitch, because that probably means that Musgrove didn't do great, because Chris Matt usually is that bulk inning guy, 3 innings, 4 innings, when a starter doesn't do great, right? But yeah, the bullpen's in good shape right now. I like what I'm seeing. I'm not worried about Garcia after a clunker on the 23rd. Steven Wilson's looked amazing. Suarez has looked good as of late. Chris Matt's Chris Matt. Lamet, he just doesn't really have a role. Like, when rosters have to be trimmed from 28 to 26, okay, Pedro Avila's gone, but who's that? Is it a position player that they don't put on the roster, or is it Lamet? Because Lamet, he's just not really pitching that much compared to everyone else. And what role is he? What role does he really have? That's a big question. So that's the bullpen situation going into tonight's game. Again, 3:40 Pacific time, first pitch. Padres in Cincinnati for the Reds. You can look at the lineups for both teams here. Start off with Cincinnati on the right. Jonathan India back, Rookie of the Year last year. Taylor Naquin, Tommy Pham hitting third. Joey Votto, Kyle Farmer, Nick Senzel, used to be a top prospect. Colin Moran, the former Pirate. Aramis Garcia in there for Tyler Stevenson. Jake Fraley. When you're 9 hitters, you're DH. I don't think that's very good of a sign. And he has 1 home run and 3 RBIs. He was with Seattle once, and I think he was known as their Travis Jankowski, like their late inning defensive replacement guy, or the guy that played in those getaway games. Moving on to the Padres lineup here, we got Nola leading off, Cronenworth, Machado, Profar, Haas, Myers, Campy, Grisham, and then Ha-Seong Kim. It is a lefty on the mound, so Grisham's down there at the bottom. I think even if it is a righty, I don't know if he'd be hitting leadoff just because of the way he's hitting right now. But with the lefty in there, CJ's on the bench to start the game. Kim in there at shortstop. That's expected. Again, Nola, Cronenworth, Manny, Profar, Hosmer. That pretty much seems like the top 5 that you're going to see for a long time unless something happens, an injury happens. If Campusano starts a hit, they might still just want him in that 7-6 area in the lineup because they just want him to be comfortable there. But Campusano at DH, I would, like I mentioned earlier, I'd expect him to continue being the DH probably for every game until Voit comes off the IL. That's what I would do unless he really sucks and strikes out all the time and he has another one of those stints where he had, what was it, at the beginning of last year when he was up? It was and he really struggled, hit under 200. If he does that again, I could see them move. But at the same time, what is Jory Alfaro doing for you right now? I can look up I don't have his stats right off the top of my head. I can look those up right now. But comparing Alfaro to Campusano, okay, Alfaro has 1 home run, but he's hitting 214. So it's not like Campusano is that much of a downgrade, even if Campusano struggles. And you still have Alfaro that can relieve Nola if you need him to for a day off or whatnot. What I'm saying about Campusano and why I think he's good for everyday DH is because he's not that great defensively. Alfaro and Nola are better defensively than Campusano is, at least from what I've seen. And in the minor leagues, he's been hitting well in the minor leagues this year, as he has pretty much his entire career, In El Paso this year so far, he struck out 4 times in 39 at-bats. I'll take that. He's hitting .359, 1 home run, 2 doubles, 14 hits, 9 games. So it's not a huge sample size, but I'm going to take that right now. Jory Alfaro is not out of this world better than Campusano so far offensively, right? So I would take that. I would really give Campusano that chance because he's one of your top prospects, right? And it's kind of like what they did with Abrams, right? Like, just throw him out there and see what happens. With Abrams, it was a little bit of a different case. With Abrams, Tatis was hurt and he had to be on the roster, right? Once Eggy Rosario got sent down to the minor leagues, you had to put him on the roster. But with Campusano, it's a little bit different. Like, he didn't start on the opening day roster, obviously. But here, there's an injury, right? There was an injury with Tatis. There's an injury with Voit. So why not bring him up? Put him out there. If he doesn't do well, guess what? You didn't really have another great option, right? Trace Thompson, you could say, was another option to bring up. But I think they think that Campusano is that better profile, power-wise. I know Thompson's hitting a home run, it seems like, every game for El Paso, but for me, or at least if I'm looking at it from the Padres' perspective, they know that Trace Thompson, he's not going to be a part of this team for the long term. Campusano still has that opportunity to do so, So I think that's kind of the viewpoint that they're looking at it from. Campusano is 23 years old, and Trace Thompson, while he's hitting good and all that, he's 31, and he didn't make the opening day roster as a bench outfielder. Same with Nomar Mazara. So maybe they have a reason why they didn't make it, and we don't know that reason. I'm just trying to spit out maybe some different reasons why Thompson isn't up. Anyone that might spit out there, like Brent Rooker, he's on the IL, so he's not a option. But Campusano is one of my what to watch for today. Him at DH. Yeah, Trace Thompson, I saw that Dory. I don't believe he's on the 40, so maybe that's also that might be a reason. You're right, because if they have to put him on the 40, then they have to take someone off. And do they want to take someone off when it's only going to be Trace Thompson, and he might suck when he gets up here, and you just have to send him back down, and you just took someone off the 40 man, a younger guy, and another team picks him up. So those are That might be a reason. That's a good point. Another what to watch for me today. No need to watch for a Luke Voit-Tommy Pham fight, right? You had that whole discussion about the dirty slide. Was it dirty? Was it not? It was not, by the way, but you had that discussion, and the Tommy Pham threatening Luke Voit and saying, I know someone with a gym. I know a gym owner. If he wants to get down, and threatening Luke Voit to a fight when he's trying to fight him on something that was a clean slide, So you're not going to have to worry about that. You're not going to have to worry about that because Voit is on the 10-day IL, like I mentioned. A question going in is, will Pham get hot again? He's facing the Padres, and former Padres have a great history. I looked some stats up a couple weeks ago of a tweet that I put out. They have a good history of beating up the Padres when they're facing them, when they're former Padres. And with Tommy Pham for this year, it's nothing different. And when he's not facing the Padres so far this season again in a Reds uniform, he hasn't done so hot. I put this out on Twitter earlier today, at Talking Friars. Since Tommy Pham has left San Diego last week, so since Tommy Pham played the Padres last week, where, by the way, he hit .416 in that series with 2 home runs in those 3 games. He's 2 for 10 with no RBIs, and he struck out 5 times. And then if you don't include Pham's 3 games against the Padres so far this entire season, so not just the games since last week's series, but every game that he's played but the Padres games, he's 3 for 36 this year with 1 RBI this season. So he's not doing hot at all when he's not facing the Padres. So our luck, he steps up there and hits another home run tonight. Musgrove gave up one to him last series that they faced each other. So that's our luck. But my point is, he's not doing so hot against teams that aren't named the Padres. So you hope that continues, that he continues not doing so hot. Not that he continues being hot against the Padres. You hope that he's not hot. I covered Campy. My Padre pick today, one guy I think will get a hit today. If I had to pick someone, I'll pick Manny today. I know that's, Ben, that's the easy pick. Way to go out on a limb there. Well, he's hitting 667. I know it's only 3 at-bats against San Martin, but he's hitting 667. As always, he's hitting at the top of the lineup in that top 3, one of the top 3 hitters. Yeah, Jake showed some things in that last series, but it is a lefty on lefty there. Nola, he's made contact, but he's hitting 229, so nowhere near Manny's 339 this year. Great American Small Park, can Manny poke something out? Yeah, it might be the safe pick, but I'm not. Yeah, Eric says, Ben, easy picks Fadden. I'm not going off of the hard pick. If I'm trying to get a great record at the end of the year, so I can say, hey, my record so far this season, or at the end of the season, is like 161, right? Something like that. I say 161 because I picked Hosmer earlier this year, and he didn't have an official at-bat, so that doesn't count because he didn't actually get out and didn't get a hit, so I don't count it. I go by the beat the streak rules. But so far this year, I'm 10-6 so far. So I'm looking to build on that, Eric, with my easy pick today, Manny Machado. All right, before we get to some questions that you guys have, any comments you guys have, some MLB news and notes just going around the league. The Yankees letter was unveiled today, by the way, about the sign stealing, the possible sign stealing and all that, after a federal judge decided to unseal the letter. That letter has been leaked today, and it didn't, let me see here. It did not say anything that is bad for the Yankees or for Yankees fans. It talks about things that we already knew. It talks about how the Yankees relayed signs in 2015 and 16 from the video room to the run around second base. Talks about that. But other than that, it says that after MLB instituted a rule where you can't cheat, like they banned it, like really harsh on it after the whole Astros thing happened, they've never been caught cheating. So, and then they weren't caught cheating in the way that the Red Sox accused them of, I think, with the Apple Watches and with the Yes Network cameras and all that. So not the Yankees, they weren't caught about anything. To decode, they used signs. They used the replay room to decode signs in 15 and 16. But other than that, at least from what I'm seeing right now so far, nothing's come out really like indicting the Yankees, Jeff Passan says the Yankees and Red Sox were illegally using the replay room to steal signs, but neither scheme was anything close to what the Astros were doing with trash cans. Other teams were very likely doing similar things to New York and Boston. That element spanned the game. So pretty much saying that what the Yankees did shouldn't be viewed as a huge deal because other teams were doing it. And they weren't banging trash cans like the Astros were. So that's pretty much, MLB did not find that they were using that center field camera illegally or anything like that. Just scrolling through here to see any latest stuff. Yeah, SNY reported it first. Andy Martino says Yankees used the video replay room in 15 and 16 to decode sign sequences, pass them to the runner on second base, who would then relay them to the batter. Yankees were fined $100,000, and the letter was sent to Brian Cashman years ago. So that's the Yankees. That's the Yankees point of view or that's the Yankees news there. Dan says, not bad. New York are the godfathers of the schemes and thread of all the 2017 nonsense. Beltran was a Yankee and took it to Houston. Apple Watch went to Boston. More non-glamour team Astros being the fall guys. No, but I understand what your point is, Dan. But what I'm saying is that, and what Jeff Passan's saying, who knows more than I do, is other teams were doing. I don't want to excuse them, but other teams definitely were doing this. And yeah, you mentioned the scoreboard lights. I think that happened at Yankee Stadium as well for one thing, but that wasn't anything. I think it was a fan that they actually discovered that was doing it. It wasn't the Yankees themselves. I get what you're saying, but other teams were doing it. That doesn't make it right. But they weren't banging trash cans and stealing signs in the postseason. It doesn't seem like, from what I've read, and they just weren't going to the extent that the Astros were. They weren't using buzzers. It's not confirmed that they were using buzzers in 19 when Altuve hit that walk-off, but come on. You can't convince me that your wife said to cover the jersey so that because the tattoo was bad and it wasn't finished. Like, I don't buy that. Like, there was something that you were using there. There was something. There was video in the World Series, I think, of something flying off of someone's finger or something that they had. Maybe it was maybe a vibrate. I think it was like Robinson Chirinos or the catcher. It like flew off and you could see it fly off. Some slow-mo videos. So they were doing stuff. They were doing fishy stuff. They were going farther than teams like the Yankees were. That's what I'll say to that. Other news, let's see. Trout hit his 50th triple in his career. MLB and the Players Association agreed to extend to a 14-pitcher maximum on rosters through May 29th. I guess they're monitoring player health, and maybe they're seeing that player position or pitchers aren't really staying healthy enough. I guess that's my guess. Some other games around the major leagues tonight. We got, just looking around divisionally, NL West, the Rockies playing the Phillies. Yankees hosting Baltimore. I know that's not the NL West, but they're resuming today. Boston, Toronto. Mets play the Cardinals. Dodgers play in Arizona, so that's going to be packed with Dodger fans, as it usually is. And then Battle of the Bay, you got Oakland and San Francisco tonight at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. So those are some scores, some MLB notes. Musgrove against San Martin for the Padres-Reds matchup tonight at 3:40. All right, let's go through some comments here, some questions. If you guys have any, feel free to drop them in the comments. Again, I do pregame shows before every game, post-game reaction videos after every game. I'm live tweeting during games. I just created this new layout here, if you didn't notice, of the pregame show layout. So I hope you enjoyed that. Duzertree619, Ben, think the head umpire will give both teams a warning before first pitch so there's no retaliation on Voit? Yeah, you're talking about the Voit slide and Tommy Pham and all that. I don't think so, because I feel like it would have happened at Petco with Luke Voit in the lineup. Oh, no. Luke Voit wasn't in the lineup, but I feel like it would have happened regardless at Petco the next day. Like, that doesn't make much sense to me to wait a week and then just because you're back at home now you want to do it. And Luke Voigt's probably not even going to be there. Like, I don't really understand that. Like, the Reds already hit Manny in the shoulder. They already hit him with a fastball up in the shoulder. They hit Alfaro on the hand. I don't think that was on purpose, but that was the day after. They already did their retaliation, in my opinion. So I think the Manny one was on purpose. I don't think Alfaro was. But for me, I think there already was the retaliation. Like, from the Reds' point of view, the Padres, they're not going to do it because they would have already. They just had McKenzie go out there and shove. That they didn't retaliate. So why, for the Padres' sake, why would they do that? This is a trip that they need to win. They need to win all of these games in this Red series. Well, not need. You need to win the series. I think you should sweep. You swept last week, You don't have to face Hunter Green. You got Musgrove, Gore, Martinez going. That's pretty good. I think you should sweep again. Eric says, this Padres team reminds me so much of the Utah Jazz, just disappointing. Well, I think that's a little of a stretch. The Jazz are in the playoffs right now, and they've disappointed year after year after year. The Padres, it's April 26th. We're 17 games into the season, so I'd relax on that. I would take, if you were to tell me before the season that the Padres were going to be 10-7 going into the Cincinnati series, okay, they lose to the Dodgers, but they split with the Braves. They win all of the series that they should win so far this season without Tatis, Clevenger, Snell, Austin Adams for some games. I'd be okay with that. I'd be on board with that. Right now, though, starting today, they need to start winning games consistently. Like this 8-game road trip, go 5-3, go 6-2. Like literally, you need to win a lot of these games this road trip. And the 15-day stretch, go at least 10-5. I hope, because then you play San Francisco and Atlanta, Milwaukee. It's a hard stretch after the Phillies, I think. After these stretch of 15 games, the next 15. So you need to win these games because it's not a guarantee you're going to win those games. Irie thinks Luke will come around eventually. You hope so. You hope that this IL stint, he can clear his head a little bit. I'm not going to hold my hopes up that he changes his approach or anything, but maybe the bicep thing was actually really affecting him, Bob Melvin did kind of cover for Luke and say that. I don't know if you guys saw that. He did mention that Luke Voit was maybe dealing with this before the season even started. Before this year, I think he even said. So if that happened, then were the Yankees not clear with the medicals or anything? Or did the Padres still make the trade knowing that? Or did they just know it when Voit arrived? Like, who knows? Alex asked, do you see Clev pitching in the Pittsburgh series, playing against his old team? Okay, so he pitches today, so that'll be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that would be on track for Sunday every fifth day. You got Martinez Thursday, so Darvish Manaea? And then, so it would be Musgrove's Day Sunday. Maybe they want to pitch him on Tuesday because they have an off day Monday. So maybe you want to pitch him Tuesday against the Guardians. Just to give him a couple days extra of days off before you put him out there. Because since Martinez pitches Thursday, Clevenger's not going to be ready to pitch Thursday. And I think that when Clevenger comes back, I think that they should still keep Gore in the rotation if he pitches well. Tomorrow against Cincinnati, right? I think they should keep him in the rotation. I think he's better as a starter. So you put Martinez in the bullpen as a long guy or piggyback Clevenger. It's not like Clevenger would be ready to come to pitch again Thursday after pitching today, only one day off. So you'd have to wait for that situation until, 5 days from Thursday would be next Tuesday? But then there's an off day Monday, so it would be Wednesday if you're pushing, what would that be? You're pushing, Is it So you'd be pushing Martinez back again a day? So maybe he goes a week before starting or really having that big role with the team. Maybe that's what they do. So that would have him pitch in Cleveland. That would be my best guess. Eric, I guess we have Mr. Pessimistic in the chat here. I'm just ready to eat another crap season. Brace yourselves. We're 17 games in. They have a winning record. I know the last episode I wasn't happy with their offense, and you shouldn't be. I agree with that if you're talking about that, but their pitching has been good this year. And you would think that Myers will get a little bit better. You'll think that Grisham will get a little bit better. And I'm excited to see what Campy has, consistent DH, getting some consistent at-bats, Let's see what he has. And maybe he contributes more to the offense. Eric says, my girlfriend's a Dodgers fan, and we broke up after the game on Sunday. She's my ex-girlfriend now. Okay. I guess you're loyal to the Padres then. I mean, you're a pessimistic Padres fan. What happened there? Were you mad at her just because she's a Dodger fan and the Dodgers whooped the Padres? You just couldn't deal with her teasing you all the time now, or what happened there? I want to address this, Gil. Yeah, you say Yankee fans are such trash, like the trash they threw onto their own field. Why do you say Yankee fans are trash? Like, I'm in New York right now, and I went to a Yankee game with my mom over last year. They were playing the Angels, and the Yankee fans that I experienced there were diehard fans. There weren't any, dip S's there, if you will, if you get what I'm saying there. Like those guys that threw the trash onto the field the other day. Yeah, those guys are trash fans. Yes, those guys are dumb fans that want the attention, want their little few seconds in the spotlight, and I guess they got peer pressured. But what I don't get there is you see a fan throw one beer onto the field and almost hit Oscar Mercado, the outfielder, and then you think it's a good idea to continue throwing beers? One beer hit an umpire in the back. Like, since when is that a good decision to make? So if you want to say that those Yankee fans are trash, yeah. But the real Yankee fans, the roll call bleacher creatures, those fans, I think you're off base on that. They're really diehard. Do they boo more than most fan bases do? Yes. But they'll also cheer you if you do something really well. So I disagree with that overall notion that Yankee fans are trash. Those that made those dumb decisions to throw beer cans onto the field and made Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge go out there and say knock it off. Yeah, those fans are trash. But the fan base as a whole, no. I can't agree with you on that. But every fan base has some dummies. Like even the Padre fans, those fans that get in the fights with Dodger fans, like those fans are dummies. They just are. Every fan base has some of those. Dan asks, how many dingers is the Franimo going to hit versus the Padres next week? 20. That's what it feels like. I would guarantee one, at least. It's only a 2-game series, so it's not like he has an additional game. I know he's off to a slow start this year, but I'd guarantee one. That's just the way it is. All right, so I think this will be it. The pregame show, April 26, 2022. Ben Fadden, your host here. The Talking Friars pregame show. Padres and the Reds, 3:40 p.m. Pacific time today in Cincinnati. Valley Sports San Diego, 97.3 The Fan. I'll be back with the post-game reaction after the game, a little 1-minute reaction video that goes up on all the social media channels. I appreciate everyone for joining. Enjoy the game today. You'll probably get to go to bed a little bit earlier. And I'll see you later. Ben Fadden, see you later.